Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anthony from Puget Sound Stormwatch on Facebook and YouTube, back again for another weather briefing. My apologies for no briefing yesterday. I wasn't feeling too hot. So we're going to jump right into things, and we're only going to talk about the thunderstorm threat coming up over this weekend. Just keep it simple. So right now on satellite imagery, I'm looking at this complex of showers and embedded storms down here near Portland. This is going to be our main area of interest going in through the weekend, followed by repeated impulses following this in the days to come. So it's certainly going to be a busy few days according to the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. We are outlined here most of western Washington, the Cascades, and parts of eastern Washington in the Day 1 thunderstorm outlook. All of Washington and Oregon are included in the Day 2 thunderstorm outlook. And again, all of Washington State is in the Day 3 outlook as well. So this goes from Friday to Saturday to Sunday. So far, one of my favorite models, the NAM3KM, has done a very poor job of showing this shower activity down here in Portland and southwest Washington. So he has almost nothing here on the simulated radar at the moment. But if we go back to the normal radar, has this complex of showers and some lightning-producing storms from time to time around here, including some forming along the Coast Range near Corvallis, just west of Salem. So this model so far is not doing a great job showing this. As we go farther in time, it shows another wave here in the North Oregon Cascades. This is around 7 p.m. tonight. And then what I really want to bring to your guys' attention is what it's showing for the early morning hours tomorrow. It's showing some of these complexes of isolated showers and some possibly embedded thunderstorms, especially along the I-5 corridor from Thurston County south to Cowlitz County. This is at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. And as that passes on, maybe some showers, maybe perhaps a thunderclap here in western Skagit County as we go into the early afternoon hours. And watch what happens after that. We have this large complex of storms all the way from the coast ranging up to the foothills of Snohomish, possibly Skagit counties, moving in after sunset tomorrow. So this is simulated reflectivity at 10 p.m. tomorrow. It just comes through one big whiff of isolated heavy rain showers and perhaps some pretty prolific lightning strikes if this were verified, going all the way into Sunday morning until the model cuts off right there. So unfortunately, I feel like this model may be overdoing it on precip totals. This is assuming all of the precipitation reaches the ground. We have a similar setup from what we saw last week where we had that shallow layer of monsoonal moisture above the ground, but that huge dry slot between that monsoonal moisture layer and the surface moisture layer, which allowed that rain to evaporate before it hit the ground. So I feel like this is a slight, if not major, overestimation, especially over the Olympics and parts of the Kitsap Peninsula here. Switching over to the 12Z Herth 3KM, my second preferred cam model here. And same thing, it's severely underdoing this shower activity down here in the Portland area. So pretty poor model agreement so far this afternoon. This shows a similar story to the NAM3KM, so showers and isolated embedded storms moving up into the SeaTac metro area before the sun rises tomorrow morning. This is 5 a.m. tomorrow. And as we go on through the day, it's doing a pretty good job agreeing with the NAM3KM, showing the second round of showers and thunderstorms moving through the SeaTac area. Then as we go on through the rest of the afternoon Saturday, it has this potential line of storms going from Everett all the way into eastern Washington, moving towards the northwest. I feel like this will hold on to affect Bellingham and parts of Vancouver, BC. I feel like the HER may be overdoing it, but also underdoing it in some aspects. It may be overdoing some of the Cascade cells, but it may be underdoing some of the shower coverage up here in extreme northwest Washington. However, I do feel like the HER 3KM shows a better representation of the surface precip amounts that we'll see here. See, much less for the Olympic Peninsula, much less for parts of the Cascades, albeit a little heavier over some of the higher terrains. I feel like these numbers will likely verify over the NAM3KM. Then looking at the HER 3KM's lightning flash potential map. Once again, extremely poor job covering this part of northwest Oregon and southwest Washington. We did have some lightning strikes down here earlier, doing an extremely poor job. It has a lot of it off the coast. That did good, but inland, not so good. And let's see what it says for later on this afternoon. It shows some thunderstorms here in extreme eastern Pierce County, parts of southeastern King County, southwestern Kittitas, and northwestern Yakima counties. And maybe another second wave down there before we hit midnight. Around midnight has some lightning activity around Mount Rainier. And it brings a lot of this activity into mainly areas south and west of Tacoma, especially in the Olympia area and parts of rural Lewis, Pacific, and Grays Harbor counties. This is 5 a.m. tomorrow. And then maybe a quick little second round for Tacoma and areas south and westward. This is as of 8 a.m. tomorrow. Then around 5 p.m. tomorrow, it shows perhaps a more robust lightning event over the Cascades that could bleed out into parts of the lowlands, including Tacoma, Seattle, Everett, and vicinity. And a lot of this activity will mainly stay over the northern Cascades and parts of western Okanagan County, as well as maybe some lightning here in the northern Olympic Peninsula, parts of Victoria, BC, as we go into the overnight hours Sunday. It has maybe some isolated lightning activity here around the San Juan Islands, parts of Bellingham, Victoria, BC, as the sun begins to rise Sunday, and then that's where the model cuts off. Before I wrap things up on today's briefing, I want to take a look at this point sounding I pulled from the SeaTac airport. This is valid at 7Z Sunday, which is the equivalent of midnight Sunday. This shows the possible hazard type being a marginal severe threat. Although this is a computer algorithm, so I would take it lightly at the moment. It does have a rather supportive elevated environment for some isolated thunderstorm activity, including a high equilibrium level near 12 kilometers high, a level of free convection around 3 kilometers, and then a high base lifted condensation level around 1 kilometer high. So this will be an elevated thunderstorm environment, which means you can take the surface equation out of it. See the shallow layer of monsoonal moisture where the green and red lines are almost touching, as well as a shallow moist layer near the surface. Once again, where the red and green lines are almost touching, and then this slot right here where the green lines and red line have quite a disparity between them. This is the dry slot between monsoonal moisture and the surface moisture layer. This is likely where some of that light showery precipitation will evaporate before hitting the ground. So unfortunately, this video, I'm not going to go in depth on really how to read this point sounding because it would just take too long and I want to try to keep the video below 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for this afternoon. There's a good chance that we'll be going into Stormwatch mode this afternoon. So be prepared for a possible YouTube live stream. I'd like to eventually get my software set up to simulcast to YouTube and Facebook. I don't currently have those capabilities at this time with the software I'm using, so please bear with me. At the time of recording this, we are at 363 YouTube subscribers and counting. Thank you guys for sharing, liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. If you guys would like to see more quick style briefings like this, go ahead and give me a follow on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was Anthony with Puget Sound Stormwatch on Facebook and YouTube. Signing out of another briefing. Hope to see you guys tonight or tomorrow morning for a YouTube live stream.